Amanda is an orphan living with her widowed aunt and 2 cousins. She was just 14 when she lost both of her parents to a ghastly accident, and being their only child, she was entitled to all their properties. Following her parents' funeral, Amanda was placed in the care of her aunt, Chinari, who also took control of her entire inheritance. Once the funeral was over and the mourners had departed, Amanda's aunt and her 2 daughters all moved into Amanda's parents' compound under the guise of caring for Amanda. Ada, the senior daughter, was older than Amanda by 3 years, while Emery, the youngest, was 2 years younger than Amanda, but it was not even a week later that Chinere and her children began to show their true colors. They did not care for Amanda, they only wanted to munch off her inheritance. It was before Amanda's eyes that Chinari claimed all her parents' savings, jewelries, and valuables. Chinari even claimed her mother's provision store in the market, claiming with a smile that she was managing them all for Amanda until she came of age. But with the way Amanda was being treated, she was forbidden from inquiring about her parents' possessions, kept out of their very room, and even prevented from visiting the store, despite her aunt's assurance. The coldness she faced from her aunt and cousins made her doubt that anything was truly being done for her benefit. Soon, Amanda was reduced to a servant in her own home. Her food portions dwindled, and the cruelty from her aunt and cousins grew by the day. Amanda was tasked with all the household chores, while her cousins got to laze around, eat as much as they wanted, and snack as much as they wanted during the day. Her cousins repeatedly invaded her privacy, sneaking into her room to ransack it and take whatever they wanted. To add insult to injury, they would then brazenly wear the stolen items and parade around in front of Amanda. Amanda soon got fed up and reported this to her aunt, but her aunt dismissively chastised. "So what? You can't lend your cousins clothes. How selfish are you, Amanda? But more, they are taking all my things. I now have nothing good to wear," Amanda complained. "Oh, I see your mom have taught you her selfish ways. I'll make sure to install in you the morals that you lack now that you're in my care." After that, Chinari threw Amanda out of her room and into the storage room. She greatly increased her workload and cut off her food portion even more, under the pretense of building Amanda's character. While her own children feasted, wore beautiful dresses, and spent their days in idleness. The worst part was Amanda knew that it was her parents' savings funding her aunt and cousin's expensive lifestyle, but she was powerless to do anything about it. Soon 3 years passed in this misery and Amanda was now 17. She was still dealing with oppression from her aunt and cousins who treated her as nothing more than dirt. She was always stuck at home tending to their needs and being a slave to them in her own house. She was dropped out of school because her aunt claimed her parents' funds were gone. When Amanda expressed disbelief, her aunt shouted at her, "Money don't last forever, Amanda. Do you think the food you've been eating was bought using leaves?" "But aunt, what about the store that's still flourishing? What about it?" Chinari shouted. "Should I feed you from my own store? Who do you think is maintaining that store? It's me." "Amanda, what's with this greedy attitude of yours? How can I take care of you with the money from my business? Don't I have my children to worry about? If your own parents had any real concern for you, they would not have departed this world and left you behind." Amanda was shocked by her aunt's words, though such cruelty was not new. Her cousins, in particular, always delighted in mocking her with her parents' passing, constantly reminding her of her orphan status. Amanda's true horror began. She was pulled from school and enslaved, forced to juggle endless housework and farm labor without any help, all while enduring constant insults. Soon, she suffered brutal violence from her wicked cousins and short-tempered aunts, who punished her for the slightest infractions, like not waking up early enough or simply looking them in the eye. Starved, mocked, and overworked in her own home, she could not say a word. One day on the way to the stream, Amanda cried her heart out. It was the only time she allowed herself to break down under the stress, for no one ever went to the stream. The village had a public tap and many wells, providing a convenient source of water. But her aunt always made Amanda fetch it from the faraway stream. Amanda remembered the day she disobeyed and fetched water from the well to save time. She received the beating of her life while her cousins cheered. Needless to say, she would never try it again. As Amanda sobbed, thinking of the terrible home that awaited her, she jolted in panic at the grunts coming towards her. She quickly wiped her tears as she saw an old woman struggling to carry a gallon of water on her head. Amanda hurried to give a hand. She greeted the woman politely and said, "Mama, let me help you." The woman was relieved to have the weight off her shoulders. She signed, "Thank you, my dear daughter. You are so kind." "No problem, Ma. You shouldn't be carrying around such heavy things. Don't you have anyone to help you?" The old woman's smile faded to a gloomy look. "My son normally helped me, but since he passed, I've had to do everything myself." Amanda sadly expressed her condolences and the old woman waved her off dismissively, giving directions to her lonely hut which sat right at the outskirts of the village but not far from the stream. After helping the woman, Amanda realized she had spent too much time at the stream and might end up at the mercy of her aunt. "Ma, I have to go now," Amanda said frantically. "Go, my child. God bless you. You've done a good thing. Go," the old woman replied. Amanda gave the old woman one last sad look, then took off running to finish her chore. As she expected, her aunt was waiting by the door. The moment Amanda arrived, Chinari wasted no time in raining insults on her, even saying cruel things about her deceased parents. Aggrieved, Amanda did her chores for the rest of the day with tears in her eyes. The next day, she was back at the stream, crying her eyes out and reminiscing about how good life was when her parents were still alive. She wished she could turn back time, even for a single day, to be in the arms of her loving parents. She had tried everything to gain her aunt's love and approval, never talking back and following all instructions to the letter, but all she got in return was scoffs, beatings, and more insults. Absorbed in her pain, Amanda did not hear the arrival of the old woman until she was standing right beside her. "My child, why are you always crying?" the old woman asked. Amanda looked up in surprise at the woman's concerned expression, then quickly wiped her tears away. Noticing the woman's gallon, she immediately offered to help. "No reason, Mama. Let me just help you." On the way to the old woman's hut, Amanda was lost in a whirlwind of thoughts. She felt so bad for the old woman, who had to live with the loss of a son at such an old age. She admired her strength, finding the courage to leave her house and walk despite the grief she must be going through. After arriving at the woman's house, Amanda made haste to leave, but she was held back. "Hold on," the old woman laughed softly. "Don't rush off so fast. I have something for you, my child." "Wait," the woman went into her hut, and Amanda shifted around impatiently, mentally counting the minutes she had spent and how fast she would have to run home to avoid her aunt's wrath. The old woman came back out with a big clay pot and, with a smile, handed it to a confused Amanda. "This is a magic pot. Wish for whatever you want, except for bringing the departed back to life. This pot can do anything else your heart desires." Amanda immediately pushed the pot back in a panic. "I can't take this. What did I do? All I did was carry water for you twice. I can't take this. This is a valuable possession of mine. It is the only reason I was able to cope with my son's passing. He left this for me before he passed away. I know you're going through turmoil and hardship, which is why I'm lending you my pot. Please, treat it well." Amanda was speechless. "Mama, even if you're just lending it to me, I can't take this. You just said it helps you. It won't be yours forever. Just keep it for me and use it to your heart's content. I'm going on a journey and can't take it along, so I'm giving it to you because I trust you. Please, don't argue with an old lady and go on already." Amanda left with the pot, confused. Of course, she didn't believe the pot was magic, but she didn't want to shatter the old lady's illusion, so she said nothing. And since the woman said her son gave it to her, it must hold sentimental value, and Amanda couldn't refuse the old lady. She was determined to take care of the pot until the old lady wanted it back. She fetched her water and returned home. Luckily, no one was around, so she hurried to the storage room where she stayed and kept the pot securely. Amanda then returned to her chores. That evening, she watched her family gather to eat the food she prepared without her. "Do you want to swallow us?" her aunt shouted, irritated. "Why are you looking at us like that? Go away. We'll call you to clean up when we're done eating. It wasn't us who asked your parents to abandon you, so let us eat in peace. You're making us lose our appetite, Ada added. Amanda apologized and went outside. But she could still hear their jeers and mockery. Amanda was only allowed to eat depending on her family's mood. She had sometimes gone 2 days without tasting food, and when she was fed, it was only once a day. The kitchen was always locked, the key always staying with her aunt. She was also watched like a hawk whenever she prepared food or cleaned the kitchen to prevent her from sneaking a bite. Amanda prayed in her heart that her aunt would spare some food for her today, as this was the second day she was going on an empty stomach. When they were done, she was called to clean up and was watched carefully as she tidied up the kitchen before her aunt immediately locked it. She continued her chores until dusk, then dragged her weary body to her room. In the middle of the night, she woke to the violent grumbling of her stomach, the pains of hunger bringing her to tears. She cried silently, utterly helpless. Wondering what to do, she remembered the events of the afternoon and hurried to retrieve the pot. She stared at it for some time, convinced she had finally gone crazy for what she was about to do. Trembling, she held the pot close. "Magic pot, please, I want food, I'm hungry." After a few seconds of silence, she broke down, despairing at what she had amounted to, begging an inanimate object for food. Then, suddenly, to her surprise, a golden light shone from the pot, and food of various variety appeared before her. Amanda rubbed her eyes, certain she had gone mad, but still before her were enticing and mouth-watering delicacies. She dug in with no more questions. If she was indeed going crazy, she was ready to accept her fate, especially if it came with a full-course meal. After eating to her fill, Amanda drifted back to sleep. The next morning, Amanda woke, wondering if the events of last night were a dream. She stared with suspicion at the magic pot, which had not been properly put away and was still by her bedside. After a moment, she hurriedly put it away and went about her chores. Later, when her aunt had gone to the store and her cousins to school, she brought the pot to the living room. Taking a deep breath, she said, "Magic pot, please clean up this place." Right before her eyes, the room instantly organized itself. The mess her family had made on the table was cleared, and the plates were clean. Amanda was almost moved to tears as she finally realized how valuable the gift she had received was. She took it around, and soon all her chores for the day were done. Then she wished for food and ate to her heart's content. She hugged the pot in happiness. Because of this precious gift, she felt a beam of light shining through, dispersing the dark clouds that had settled over her life. But she knew it wasn't hers to keep, so she planned to use it to her heart's content. She savored the look of surprise on her cousins' and aunt's faces when they returned to find everything perfectly in order. They had nothing to complain about and no opportunity to insult her. Out of anger, they starved her again, but Amanda was not disturbed. She returned to her room and ate better than she had in years, and enjoyed an even better sleep. The days continued like this. The magic pot did everything Amanda asked, and her family had no chance to bully her. Amanda felt lighter and happier than she had in years. Then, one Saturday, her cousins' patience with Amanda's perfection ran out. They were also growing increasingly annoyed witnessing her happiness. Amanda was cleaning, unable to use the pot as her cousins were home, when Emery approached her with a full plate of food, fully expecting Amanda to stare longingly and perhaps plead for a bite, giving her an opportunity to make fun of Amanda. But Emery paraded in front of Amanda until her legs tired, without even getting a glance or reaction from Amanda. Annoyed, she began to taunt Amanda. "Amanda, you haven't eaten since yesterday, right?" Emery asked, taking a bite while staring at Amanda. "Yes, but I'm okay," Amanda replied with a gentle smile, returning to her cleaning and humming a joyful tune to herself. Emery, shocked by the dismissal, stormed away, but then she thought of something evil and hurried to her sister. "Ada, I think Amanda have been stealing food from us." "I knew it," Ada exclaimed. "No wonder she's more healthy and happy. She's now pouncing around the house like she owns it. Where will she get that much energy if she have not been stealing from us? Normally she drags herself around the house like a zombie and making mistakes." But now she's more agile. Let mother comes back and we'll report this thief to her. Now she's stealing our food. Next she will steal this house. Chinari returned to see her daughters waiting at the door and they immediately spilled their thoughts to her. Chinari, not even letting them finish, excitedly grabbed a cane, then rushed to find Amanda and started whipping her and screaming, "Shameless thief, what have we not done for you and you're stealing from us? I feed you from my money and I house you. Your foolish parents passed to escape the responsibility of raising you and I'm the good Samaritan who burdened myself to care for you and this is how you repay me." Amanda screamed as her aunt descended on her with blows and whip, but her aunt did not stop until Amanda was nearly unconscious. Then she was punished as her aunt and cousins rained insults on her, calling her all the terrible names they could think of and of course not forgetting to rub her orphan status in her face. Amanda limped to her small storage room that night and cried her heart out. Trembling, she brought out the magic pot and held it close. "Curse them." Amanda was so frightened by the whisper she almost dropped the pot. "Curse them." The voice came again. Amanda was horrified. What was that ominous whisper? She quickly dropped the pot and rushed to bed, hiding under her blanket, shivering in fear as the voice whispered again and again. The next day, having not gotten enough sleep, Amanda wished for strength and for her injuries to heal. She ate and went on with her chores. But the voices persisted. Every time her cousins threw an insult her way, the voice would say, "Curse them. They deserve it." When she was starved or beaten, the voice urged, "Curse. Curse them." As the days went by, the voice became impatient. It chanted at random times in her head, "Curse them, curse them." Amanda was terrified of these thoughts, but she knew they weren't hers. No matter what her family did to her, she never thought of hurting them. Her prayers had only been to be saved from their cruelty, not for harm to come to them. She cared for them in spite of everything they had done, just as her mom had taught her to. But the voice didn't care. It urged her to hurt them, and her family didn't make things better as they became more in nature toward Amanda. Then one day, after a ghastly accident, Chinari was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, with the doctors trying their best to save her. Amanda rushed home to her pot frantically, realizing how terrible her aunt's condition was. She held the pot to make her wish when the voice came thundering in her head, "Don't let her be doomed. She is cursed. Leave her to her fate." Amanda shivered in terror as the voice went on and on, trying to convince her not to help. But Amanda remembered the look of fear on her cousins' faces. She knew how horrible it was to lose her own parents. Would she be able to live with herself if she let her cousins go through the same thing when she could help them? It was true that her family may have been insufferable, but her love for them was stronger. She would not take pleasure in others' pain. What good were her morals if she was easily influenced by evil? Her cousins and aunt may have been insufferable, but her love for them was stronger. "I wish my aunt recovers fast from her accident, and I wish for my cousins to be filled with strength and courage during this trying time," she declared, her wish said loud and clear with a firm voice. The voice was finally silent. But Amanda didn't immediately notice as she was in a hurry to return back to the hospital. Chinari had a miraculous recovery, and her children showed great maturity and put their all into caring for their mother. The days passed with Amanda and her cousins fussing over Chinari as she showed a speedy recovery, so no one had time to pester Amanda. With this development, the voice ceased to exist, and Amanda was freed from its torture. Chinari and her children continued being civil for a few weeks, but soon cracks began to appear in their character. Amanda, who had thought wishing well for her aunt and cousins had caused a positive change in her family's attitude, continued to make frequent wishes for them. "MagicPot, please help my sister pass her exam. MagicPot, please clear my aunt's headache. MagicPot, please bless the store for my aunt today." She made wishes like this every day, hoping that the happier her family was, the more peaceful her life would be, but too bad, her family's hearts were as black as charcoal. Emery, for one, was not happy with the peaceful atmosphere. She was angered by how calm everyone was now. She could no longer entertain herself with Amanda's misery, and her mother and sister seemed to have no plans of ridiculing Amanda. She didn't want to be the one to start, so she decided to create a situation that would put Amanda back on their bad side. Emery stole a pricey piece of jewelry from her mother and sneaked into Amanda's room, planning to plant it there and frame Amanda for theft. Just as she was wondering where to place the jewelry, she heard footsteps coming toward the storage room and hid in a panic. Amanda's living area was a storage room packed with tools, old furniture, and piles of unwanted boxes, so there were many places to stay hidden. Amanda walked into the room and went straight to the pot. From her hiding place, Emery could see Amanda's movements. Amanda held the pot and wished, "Magic pot, please let the shop flourish today again, give my family good health, and protect them." Emery stared in confusion. Is she praying to the pot? Have years of maltreatment made Amanda go mad? She wondered. But soon her eyes widened in shock at the next event. Amanda wished for a hearty breakfast, and before her appeared a table of delicacies that Amanda enjoyed. Emery's jaw dropped in shock. She doubted her eyes and kept blinking in a daze, but the image didn't disappear. It felt too real. Emery even found herself drooling at the aroma of the meal. After eating, Amanda carefully hid the pot and left. Emery sat in her hiding place for a while, still bewildered. Was she dreaming? Was what she saw real? But the more she thought about it, the more feasible this bizarre scene became. She sneaked out, went straight to fetch the pot, and ran to her room. Sitting on her bed, she stared at the clay pot. It looked completely ordinary, well, except for the fact that it could actually grant wishes. Just how did Amanda get her hands on something like this? Emery swallowed and whispered a wish. "I want 100,000. A golden light shone from inside the pot, and it filled up with money the moment the light disappeared. Emery's heart pounded in happiness, and she could hardly hold back a squeal. She immediately emptied the pot of money onto her bed. She looked at the pot with sparkly eyes as if she was in love and hugged it tightly, jumping and squealing silently in happiness. Emery ran to her mother's room and saw Ada already there. She hurriedly started rambling and shoving the pot in their faces, but they only looked at her as if she had gone mad. "Emery, Mom needs rest, do not bother her, go outside and play with your pot," Ada said in annoyance. Emery huffed and held the pot out. "Magic pot, I want 100,000. To the shock of Chinari and Ada, a golden light beamed from the pot, and then it was filled with cash. Chinari and Ada were bewildered and asked Emery to repeat her story, now all ears. When they heard the tale, they all thought the same thing. Just how did Amanda get her hands on something like this? But they didn't ponder for long. As their attention were captivated by the pot, they began wishing for all kinds of things: bags of cash, bars of gold, jewelry, designers, food, silver, and more. The three of them spent the entire day wishing with the pot. In the evening, when Amanda was done with her chores, she returned to her room and found the pot missing. She frantically searched everywhere, turning the storage room upside down, but couldn't find it. She was incredibly anxious. After all, the pot wasn't hers. She had a guess: if the pot wasn't with her, someone in the house had to have taken it. Her heart skipped a beat as she prayed they hadn't discovered its secret so she could easily get it back. She knocked on her aunt's door. After a while, she heard her aunt tell her to wait in the living room. After almost an hour of waiting, she finally saw her aunt and cousins. But she noticed an expression she hadn't seen on them in a while. They looked at her with pure disgust, but Amanda didn't mind. "Aunt, I'm looking for a clay pot. It was in the storage room." "And why do you think we would have it?" Chinari sneered. "If you can't find it, that means you've misplaced it. I just wanted to know if you had taken it by mistake, maybe thinking it was trash." Chinari gasped dramatically. "Are you calling us thieves?" "No, Aunt, I'm just..." Chinari interrupted Amanda, not letting her explain. "Is this how you repay me after I've clothed and fed you? You think my children or I would want any of your tattered belongings? Pack your things and leave my house. I will not host an ungrateful child." Chinari turned to leave after shouting at Amanda, the pot does not belong to me, the owner will come for it, Amanda blurted out, causing Chinari to halt and turn around slowly. Amanda quickly explained how she got the pot and told them about its original owner. So you had a magic pot and you didn't tell me or your cousins because of your wicked and selfish heart, Chinari scoffed. The reason Amanda hadn't told them was simple. They always took everything from her, and she couldn't let them take the pot that wasn't even hers. The pot was also what was helping her, so she wouldn't foolishly hand it to those who wanted to see her downfall. Mom, that must be because she has an evil heart. She must have been the one responsible for your accident with the aid of the magic pot, added Spat. Chinari's eyes widened. So you planned to hurt me in my own house, didn't you? Wait for me. Chinari ran into her room, ignoring Amanda, who had dropped to her knees to plead her case. Chinari returned with the pot and said out loud with a wicked grin, "Magic pot, whip Amanda 300 times." Right before their eyes, Amanda began wailing and writhing on the floor as if being whipped by invisible canes. Emery knew Amanda didn't wish them harm. After all, she was in the room while Amanda was wishing for their well-being. But she didn't say anything and instead enjoyed watching her mother torture Amanda. After a while, Ada asked, "But wait, Mom, if the owner of the pot comes for it, what should we do?" Immediately after Ada asked this, she, her sister, and her mother all had a voice so small it could easily be mistaken for an intrusive thought. "If the owner is deceased, how can she ask for the pot back?" The three evil people immediately agreed with the voice. Chinari said to her daughters, "If the owner is deceased, how can she ask for the pot back? We'll just wish for that, it wouldn't be our fault. We didn't do it with our own hands, so we can't be held accountable." After Amanda heard this, she started pleading desperately on behalf of the poor old woman. Chinari just grinned, and while holding eye contact with Amanda, she wished, "Magic pot, get rid of the stupid old woman that was once your owner." Amanda glared at Chinari in anger as she cried, "Oh, and also, throw this trash Amanda in the forest," and before their eyes, Amanda disappeared. Chinari cackled, "Let's see if this witch can survive in a forest." Amanda blinked and found herself surrounded by dense, tall and thick trees. Insects were everywhere, and she would periodically hear sounds of birds singing and growls from afar. Amanda scurried under a massive tree and called into herself, crying softly. She didn't know how long she sat there before she heard a voice. "You know, whenever I meet you, you're always crying." Amanda was surprised to hear the voice. When she looked up and saw the old lady, she jumped up in happiness and hugged her, crying tears of joy. After some time, Amanda and the old lady sat under the tree. "I thought you were gone. My aunt wished with the pot, and I thought because of me, you were." Amanda's voice trailed off. The old lady sighed and consoled Amanda. "If the pot could hurt me, I wouldn't give it to anyone." She then held the pot out to Amanda. "But your family is truly wicked. I've taken back the pot. Here, make a wish. You can only make one. This is my parting gift to you." The old lady's voice became a tempting whisper. "Think of how terrible and wicked your aunt and her children have been to you all this time. Don't they deserve to be ended? This is your only opportunity to finish them. Wish for their demise." Amanda shook her head. "No, I'm already happy knowing you're alive and well. So I no longer have any regrets or resentment. The only reason I've been suffering is because my parents left me. I'm tired of this suffering. I just want to rest. So, my only wish is to join my parents in the afterlife." The old lady was stunned. She slowly lowered the pot and sighed. "I can't grant that wish. You're something else, Amanda. You know I haven't been completely honest with you, especially about the origin of this pot. If I had told you the truth, you wouldn't have taken it. This pot actually has 2 rules, and breaking the second leads to disastrous consequences." She sighed and revealed, "I'm a witch, Amanda, and this pot is evil." Amanda jumped away from the old witch in shock. The old woman did not mind and continued, "I was reading a dangerous book, so dangerous it was forbidden even for witches. That's how I found out about this magic pot. It was easy to get. The only ingredient was the life of my children, and I had one son. Because I was hungry for power, I sacrificed him. I thought I could have more children later, but what I didn't realize was that the ingredient truly meant the life of every child I ever gave birth to, both the one alive and the ones not yet born. Any child I gave birth to, the pot claimed, I kept bearing my own children. I wished every day for my children to be spared. I cried and begged. I filled this pot with my bitter tears, but the pot never responded. As that was the price for its existence, she looked up at Amanda and continued, Amanda, the rules of this dangerous pot are: 1. You can't wish to see or revive the deceased. 2. You can't wish for the demise of anyone. The pot can't fulfill these wishes. However, though breaking the first rule don't have any consequence, breaking the last rule comes with deadly consequences. The price is your soul. If you dare wish for the demise of someone, the pot takes your soul. Wait, Amanda interrupted, frightened. If that's the case, why were you urging me to wish for my aunt's demise? The old woman grinned widely, a chilling sight that sent shivers down Amanda's spine. That's because the third rule is that I have to give a soul to the pot every year. That's how I soothe it and stay sane. Amanda shivered in fear. She had questions, but she didn't dare ask. She didn't even want to know the answers. The old woman continued, but with a distressed tone, my greed drove me to uphold the ritual to obtain this pot, and in the process, I lost my only child. It's not worth it. I have no reason to be happy anymore. Even this pot I had so desperately wanted can't bring me joy, especially when it keeps trying to snatch my soul. The old woman turned to Amanda. I'm sure you must have been tormented by an insistent voice urging you to take a life. The woman grinned. That's the restless spirit from the pot. It wants your soul. It will keep pressuring you until you either give in or go mad. I'm surprised you were able to resist the voice, even when you didn't know the rule or the consequence attached, and even though you had reasons to fall victim to the spirit's temptation. I envy you, Amanda. You truly have a pure heart with no evil thoughts at all. Amanda swallowed and accused in a shaky voice. Since you knew how dangerous this pot is, why didn't you destroy it? Why did you give it to me? The old woman's expression grew cold. I cannot destroy something I sacrificed my son for. I told you already about the spirit from this pot. It tempts me regularly to break the second rule whenever it's hungry, just so it can take my soul. I know the consequences, but I can hardly resist the voice. It drives me close to madness, so I travel all around and I give the pot to people with grievances in hopes they are successfully tempted to break the second rule. When they fall, their soul is taken, and the pot is returned to me. Then the pot spirit is satisfied for a year, which gives me enough time to find another victim. Amanda, you are the only one who has ever survived. Everyone else has fallen victim to the pot and had their souls consumed. The old woman smiled softly and genuinely, then stretched out her hand holding the pot toward Amanda. Now make your last wish, you deserve it. Now make your last wish, you deserve it. I'll be leaving now and we will never cross paths again. Amanda shook her head. No, thank you, Ma. The old woman laughed. At least wish to leave this forest. Amanda paused for a moment before cautiously stepping towards the pot and making her wish. Right before the old woman's eyes, Amanda disappeared. The old woman almost shed a tear. She truly envied Amanda's innocent and pure heart. As her will was strong enough to subdue the bloodthirsty pot spirit, she wished she had a heart like Amanda's, because only then would she have been able to subdue the pot spirit. The old woman knew that Amanda had helped her out of the kindness of her heart, while she had only had bad intentions for Amanda. So the old witch made a silent wish for Amanda. Let that girl be blessed in everything she does. Let her only meet good people. Let her live a long, satisfying and prosperous life. This was a wish the magic pot happily granted. When Amanda returned home, her aunt and cousins were nowhere to be found. They had disappeared without a trace, leaving behind everything they had wished for with the pot. Amanda soon regained all her rightful possessions and went on to live a long, happy and prosperous life just like the old woman had wished for her. A pure heart is the greatest power. Even with a magic pot that can grant any wish, Amanda's greatest strength isn't the pot's power but her unwavering kindness and refusal to seek revenge. While others were corrupted by the pot, her pure heart made her immune to its evil influence. Greed and evil are self-destructive. Chinari and her daughter's greed and cruelty ultimately lead to their own downfall. Their hunger for more and their willingness to harm others for gain caused them to lose everything. even all they wished for. In the end, their evil consumes them. True happiness cannot be wished for. At first, Amanda uses the pot to make her life easier, but she finds true happiness not through magical gifts but by staying true to her kind nature. The pot can give you a meal, but it can't give you a good night's sleep or a peaceful heart. Power doesn't change who you are, it reveals it. The pot didn't turn Chinari and her daughters evil, it simply gave them the power to act on the evil that was already in their hearts. In contrast, it revealed Amanda's kindness and moral strength. What are your thoughts on this story and the characters? What was your favorite moments? What did you learn from the story? Please don't hesitate to leave a comment. Please like, share and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.